The Somalian referee has been denied entry. Every few hours, it's another story. Another story about fans denied, players denied, officials denied, journalists denied. Now refs.
Thank you to Ian Wright for that video and weighing in. Now, this is a very important subject. It involves Omar Artan, the winner of the 2025 Confederation of African Football Male Referee of the Year award winner. And yet when he arrived in Miami for the World Cup, he was denied entry. Oh, and where is he from? A target of the Trump administration, a target of J.D. Vance, a target of Stephen Miller, a target of journalist Nick Shirley. Think about the Minnesota daycare fraud BS. Think about how the Trump administration utilized this inarticulate Mormon child to try and, to an extent successfully, go after people. Artan is from Somalia. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, Somalia. Oh my God. Oh my God. God, this country, man. So, what did TalkSport have to say?
I do not know, and at this moment in time, I'm not sure that we do know the reason why this referee wasn't allowed in the country. If he didn't meet the visa requirements,
he hasn't met the vetting requirements. Is what I'm being told.
So that's not a mess. That's an issue from his side, and it's an issue from the people that represent him. As far as the Iranians are concerned, with due respect to whether you like it or you don't like it, the US is at war with Iran. It's hardly a surprise that you are not going to particularly want Iranian supporters coming into the country, despite the proclamation at the time, with the circumstances that Infantino was orchestrating and illustrating, that we want it to be the most inclusive World Cup you could possibly be, and it will be available to everybody. But there are exceptions. If you don't meet your visa requirements, and if you're at war with a country, those are possibly reasonable exceptions.
That's Simon Jordan. I cannot stand this guy. I cannot stand him. Every time there's some issue / story that we cover regarding world football, he is usually on the very wrong side. The reason I play stuff like this, by the way, is just to give you a glimpse of how some people think about these very serious issues, and then to fact check them and obliterate them because they're wrong. Here's the story, by the way, via CNN.
Linda, many Somalis, many Africans see racism in what happened to Omar Abdulkadir Artan. He is an award-winning referee, maybe the best referee in Africa. The Confederation of...
That's who they're banning. That's who they're banning. In my opinion, because he is Somali. And they don't like, potentially, the precedent that it would set, including how this hell site, Twitter, would light up if he were to make one call that any person with a semi-large following would disagree with. That has MAGA, tried and true, 45, 47, Christ in their profile.
African football named him Male Referee of the Year 2025. That is the highest honor in his field. And yet when he showed up traveling on a diplomatic passport, at the Miami International Airport, he was called in for further questioning, and then U.S. Customs and Border Protection says that he was found inadmissible due to vetting concerns. But the Somali embassy here in Nairobi tells us that he was vetted here in Nairobi by the U.S. Embassy and granted a 3-month multiple entry visa. That's he could travel between the U.S., Mexico, and Canada, 3 host nations. So they don't understand what happened here, and U.S. authorities are not saying anymore.
Right, and that is exactly the problem. Is no one is saying anything. No one. Somalia is one of 39 nations affected by the Trump admin's travel ban. The Customs and Border Patrol spokesperson didn't provide any details on why the referee was refused entry, but nationals of countries listed under Trump's travel ban are placed under additional scrutiny. That's all that this is. That's simply all that this is. They could say whatever they like, including the head of the World Cup task force, Andrew Giuliani, seen right here. You want to know what he said about all of this? Listen in.
There's a lot of talk abroad about how the United States blocking the entry of referees from Africa, Iranian coaching staff, national team fans. What are the actual reasons for these measures, and is it a bureaucratic error?
Sure, we'll take these one by one. So there's been one referee who has not been admitted, and while I can't go into the details, what I can tell you high level is it was for very good reason. I support that decision. I was speaking directly with the Secretary of Homeland Security and the Commissioner of CBP on Sunday. The days are blending together. A couple of days ago on this, and it was for very good reason that ultimately this referee did not get in the country. So only one referee, not multiple.
So he's trying to downplay it by saying, see, this is really important because it's only one. You are crushing this man's dream. And you're not giving any good reason why. And here's the other part about this that I want everyone to listen up and pay attention to. This administration will do anything and everything to label someone a terrorist, a domestic terrorist, Antifa, anything. This shows you they have nothing. They have nothing. This is a call that came from the top, in my view. And you know what? If they put out something, we'll dig deep. And we'll make sure, because these aren't just akin to police statements, we just take them as the gospel. And I will update this story, but I am telling you right now, my hunch is they have nothing. Because if they were to let in one person from Somalia, it would go against their entire motive by labeling these people enemies, when really they're people trying to make a living, trying to have a better life for them and their families. Not too hard of a concept to grasp. Andrew Giuliani is who that is. The son of Rudy. Someone that is completely unfit to be in this position for such a big moment. Shame on him. Sky News caught up with him and they questioned him. Here's what he said.
Andrew, can I ask, why did the referee Omar Artan...
Ran for office, by the way, I believe multiple times and got crushed multiple times.
Why was he refused entry to the United States?
Look, there are a few things we can't talk about, but what I can tell you is that anybody who's communicating with bad actors that plan harm against the United States of America are not going to be...
What was he planning, dude? Simple follow-up. Planning what? Planning what? You could not have someone, if he is winning this award and has been widely reported as being ethical and fair, receiving the highest honor for a referee. And he's basically painting him as, yeah, he was going to attack America. What?
Admitted entrance, and we're not going to allow a soccer tournament, no matter how big it is, to threaten Americans. What we are proud of is we're proud of the work that's been done.
It's just insane, man. But like, I know we want to play it through, but we also have to stop and acknowledge how what insane this is. To say of someone, when you are revealing nothing, he's not even in the country anymore, and you're saying nothing.
From visa perspective,
I think because they know that there might potentially be litigation.
The fact that all players, all coaches up to this point have gotten in the country. We've worked extremely hard with consular affairs.
Not easily, by the way. You guys made it incredibly difficult for that to happen, for players, coaches, staff, etc.
With CBP and USCIS to make that happen.
Was he in contact with bad actors, and who were these bad actors?
Again, there are some things that I can't talk about. What I can tell you is we're going to make sure that this is a safe and secure tournament, not just for America.
They got nothing. They got nothing. They got nothing. These people in this administration are so incredibly quick to attack anybody and anything at any point in time. And the fact that they are so tight-lipped is a tell.
American citizens and permanent residents, but all the people who legally are traveling here to the United States.
Given the people having trouble accessing.
All right, I can't take this anymore. All right, so Artan told the New York Times, I'm very, very disappointed. I'm just simply a referee who's trying to live his dream, the biggest dream of my life, to come to the World Cup. He would then tell the Times the interview ended after 11 hours. He was then taken to a separate holding cell where he was detained for several further hours before he was kicked out and he was on his long trek back home. Here's what it looked like.
What happened has happened, and it is fate. FIFA has supported me well, and they have been following my journey closely up to now. I promise you that in the upcoming matches, I will go further and leave a positive mark. Somalia is ours, whether things are good or bad. I want to tell our youth not to lose hope in our country. That flag is ours.
So as I'm watching this, all I can think of is, well, number one, how terrible this is, obviously. Obviously. The second is this. What they did not want was a sign of hope for Somalians, especially Somali Americans, because he would be celebrated. He would be honored. The first Somali to ever referee a World Cup match, it's historic. They didn't want that history to fall under their administration in that era and serve as a beacon and light of hope. That is what this administration does over and over again. They crush the hopes of the people. So look, I conclude with this. For Somali Americans and those from Somalia who are in the country or not, this isn't the way it should be. It just isn't. And know that we are, as the opposition to fascism, not going down quietly. We will continue speaking up. I see this as a message being sent. A terrible one at that. One that I, along with many others, are not a fan of. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.